The following presentation is non-profit and is intended for entertainment purposes only. All events within this presentation are non-canon. Batman and all related characters are the property of DC Comics, Warner Brothers, and their respective owners. Hilarious Matrimony, a Batman fanfiction. Written and read by Robert Cantor. Chapter 19. In the aftermath of the Joker's attack, when asked if the city of Gotham would press charges against Batman for using deadly force, the district attorney stated that the case was highly irregular and that she wouldn't even know where to start. Nevertheless, a public hearing was conducted by the Justice League to help appease the masses, and the verdict was that Batman's actions in extreme circumstances had been justified, which seemed to be the general consensus of all the interested parties. Finally, the day of the wedding arrived. Despite the overwhelming media circus that surrounded the event, it was a very private ceremony held at an undisclosed location. Since Dick's identity as Nightwing was a secret, it had been attended by only Dick and Kory's closest friends and family. Jason's leg still wasn't fully healed, so he was using crutches and was helped along by Barbara. Tim had brought Stephanie as his +1. Nobody would ever forget the sight of Kory in her sleeveless white dress adorned with gems that twinkled like stars. The fabric shimmered like a calm sea under moonlight. She glided down the aisle radiating an aura of beauty and joy that was felt by all in attendance. Before the ceremony began, both Gar and Vic had placed bets on who they thought would start crying. Vic was sure that it would be Kory, but after everything that had happened, Gar was sure that Dick's iron nerve would fail him, even with Batman present. Donna overheard them and bet that both of them would start crying. As Dick and Kory took their place at the altar, Donna's intuition proved correct, and both Vic and Gar had to pay up. I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. Kory made her own little addition to the vows. I promise to light up your nights, to soar with you through the stars, and to cherish every moment. I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. In that moment, surrounded by their loved ones, Dick and Kory sealed their promises with a kiss, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The reception was being held in the renovated Watchtower, where it seemed as though the whole superhero community had been assembled, a huge contrast to the privacy of the ceremony. Batman had even brought Catwoman as his +1. The whole place was filled with elaborate decorations, either in nod to Kory's heritage as a Tamarinian princess or Dick's roots in the circus, but there were absolutely no clowns. Anyone whose identity was a secret, with very few exceptions, had come in costume. Not wanting to steal Kory's thunder, Wonder Woman was dressed as modestly as could be expected for an Amazonian princess. Naturally, it fell to Batman to introduce the newlyweds. He was used to giving the occasional speech as Bruce Wayne, but not as Batman. It felt very weird, but thankfully, Clark had agreed to help him write the speech. Normally, when we all get together, we're rallying to fight against some unprecedented crisis. Batman was usually the most serious person in the room. Some members of the superhero community had never even seen him smile. It was very surreal to see him do so now. I'm pleased to say that today, that's not the case. Today, we're all gathered here to celebrate the love and union of Nightwing and Starfire. Dick and Kory got a thunderous round of applause as they entered the room hand in hand. Their journey has been one of cosmic proportions, a dance across the stars, fueled by passion and shared purpose. Nightwing and Starfire have faced their share of challenges. They've battled evil together, laughed together, found solace in each other's arms. And sometimes, they've even argued about the proper way to fold laundry. A few chuckles rippled through the room. "When did we argue about laundry?" whispered Kory. "Honey, Bruce was trying to be funny," replied Dick. "But through it all, they've remained steadfast," continued Batman. "Their love has endured, stronger than any power in this room. We fight for justice, but today we celebrate something equally important: connection." It felt really weird for Batman to say some of these lines, and he again found himself wishing Superman was the one giving the speech. He reminded himself that this was for Dick and his new wife, and he kept going. "Love binds us. It reminds us why we put on these capes and masks. It's not just about stopping crime, it's about creating a better world. We've all experienced tragedy, but what's in front of us is more important than what's behind us. The love these two share is a beacon guiding us through the darkness and reminding us that even in a universe teeming with chaos, good can prevail." Batman turned to Dick and Kory. "Nightwing, Starfire, you've found love. Cherish it, protect it, and remember that even on the darkest nights, there's always a glimmer of hope." There was another round of applause. "Ha ha! Bruce has feelings!" whispered Green Lantern to Flash. With Batman's speech completed, it was time for the first dance. Ask anyone who was present that day, and they would tell you that it was like a scene in a fairy tale. Dick and Kory faced each other. The lights dimmed, and the room fell silent. The silence was broken by a mystical instrumental music. As the dance began, Kory started singing in her native Tamaranian. Dick responded, also in Tamaranian. He had spent months practicing the lyrics that Kory had taught him. Kory would start, Dick would respond, and then they'd sing together, their voices harmonizing like binary stars. The very walls resonated with their love. When Kory finished delivering the final verse, she and Dick kissed. The crowd erupted in cheers. Catwoman wiped away a tear and clung to Batman for support. I don't know what they said, but it was the way they sang it. After a few pictures were taken, Kory tapped her glass to get everyone's attention. "On Tamaran, we have a sacred wedding tradition." Kory gestured, and Donna brought her a bottle and goblet. "Today we celebrate, but as we all know, no love is without hardship. On Tamaran, it is customary for the father of the groom to drink the blazing nectar. This is meant to bless the union and to test the familial bonds." The blazing nectar wasn't just hot, as the name suggested. According to the simulations Cyborg had run, a few sips of the stuff could get the entire Amazonian army drunk. Under the circumstances, the task of drinking it fell to Batman. Kory poured the golden liquid into the crystal goblet and handed it to Batman. "Just drink the nectar and keep it down as long as you can." As Batman held the goblet in his hand, the golden liquid seemed to emanate an ominous red glow. He was a man of logic and discipline. He didn't see how drinking any concoction could have any bearing on Dick and Kory's marriage. Yet here he was, about to down a drink that could rival any alien moonshine. Hal was using his ring to create a drum roll. Batman's eyes flickered back to Dick and Kory, and he understood the weight of this moment. "To love," he said. Batman downed the entire drink in one gulp. For a brief moment, everything was frozen in time. Then Batman's face turned red, his eyes watered, mucus erupted from his nose, his knees buckled, and he collapsed to the floor. The entire room gasped, but Batman clenched his teeth, refusing to yield. To anyone watching the event unfold, it looked like the Dark Knight was having a seizure or a heart attack. But he did not regurgitate the drink. Through sheer force of will, Batman held the liquid within. Sweat poured down his face, but he did not falter. When he finally stopped twitching, he opened his eyes, but the words that came out of his mouth were barely audible.
"I can taste the sun."
Not only had Batman managed to keep the drink down, he had somehow maintained the power of speech. According to Tamaranian tradition, this meant that Dick and Kory's marriage should be able to handle anything the universe threw at them. "You're looking at a living legend," said Kory, smiling. There was a chorus of applause. Then Batman's head rolled over in Superman's direction. Just like that, his index finger shot out like a rocket.
"I've been meaning to tell you off for years, but I never got up the nerve until now. That big S on your chest is stupid!"
The whole room erupted into laughter. Batman tried to get to his feet, but only succeeded in rolling over onto his stomach.
"I'm gonna hit you so hard, onomatopoeias will appear out of thin air. Zlop!"
"Zlop? Nothing in the known universe goes zlop," said Barry.
"We need to sober him up," said Superman.
"Zatanna! On it! Rebus me acum!" As Zatanna's spell took effect, Batman let out a loud and agonized groan.
"Kory, what are you trying to do? Poison me?"
"Take him into the next room and get him some coffee and a sports drink. Or 3, said Superman. Both Catwoman and Zatanna helped Batman to his feet and out of the room. "While Batman recuperates," said Superman, "here's my cousin Kara with one of her favorite songs." Kara stepped up to the makeshift stage, and with a voice that could move planets, she started to sing. "How long will I love you? As long as there are stars above you, and longer if I can." Dick and Kory started to dance again, and several other couples followed their lead. "How long will I need you? As long as the seasons need to follow their plan." The words swirled around the hall, resonating deeply with everyone present. Each hero felt a connection to the song, remembering their own loves, whether it be lost, found, or cherished within their world of capes and cosmic battles. Once again, Dick and Kory found themselves succumbing to tears. The journeys the two of them had walked hadn't been easy. It was hard to believe that they had finally reached this moment after all the storms they had weathered. Battles fought, doubts faced, and separations healed. "Can you believe we made it?" whispered Dick. He gazed into Kory's emerald eyes. He had already asked her to marry him before the Joker broke out of Arkham for the last time. But the thought of losing her forever had burned away any doubts and blown away the ashes. Regardless of whatever obstacles their relationship had experienced in the past, he loved her, and he needed her. Kory smiled. "I never stopped believing in us." "How long will I love you? As long as stars are above you, and longer if I may." As Supergirl's final note hung in the air, Dick whispered to Kory, "Forever. Forever," repeated Kory. "May your love endure," said Supergirl, "through battles and galaxies, across time and space." After the thunderous applause of Supergirl's performance had died down, Superman introduced the next act. "And now, stupid things that couples argue about, with Black Canary and Green Arrow." Coming out onto the stage, Oliver was the first to speak. "Toilet paper roll. Over or under?" "Over. Always over," replied Dinah. "It's the only way." "But under means less chance of accidental unraveling," said Oliver. "It's practical." This coming from the billionaire playboy who spends his free time shooting arrows at criminals, one of which has a freaking boxing glove attached. A chorus of laughter erupted throughout the room. "I guess I need to give you that one," said Oliver. "But what about the unfinished coffee cup that someone left sitting on the table? We argued about that for 5 years." "I wasn't aware we stopped," replied Dinah. Oliver and Dinah continued to rant and rave about things like TV volume, toothpaste, and the correct way to load the dishwasher. While this was going on, Gar was pacing nervously in another room. The reality of singing in front of the Justice League was hitting him, and he never anticipated that he'd have to follow up Supergirl. His inferiority complex flared. Raven had sensed his anxiety and came looking for him. "What's wrong?" she asked. "No one said anything about going after Supergirl!" exclaimed Gar. "I mean, she's Supergirl, and I'm just me. That's like following up a supernova with a firecracker." Raven affectionately cupped Gar's face in her hands and looked into his eyes. "Don't worry about everyone else. Focus on Dick and Kory. Focus on me." Green Arrow and Black Canary finished their skit to a loud ovation. Superman came onto the stage to introduce the next act. "And now, a very special appearance by Elvis?" Gar came out dressed in a sparkly Elvis jumpsuit, complete with wig and guitar. He got a lot of laughs from the crowd, but they stopped as soon as they saw how seriously he was taking this. Batman had recovered from the blazing nectar and had returned to the room, which did nothing to help Gar's nerves. But he found Raven's smile in the crowd and took a deep breath. "This song is for the bride and groom, because they deserve it," he said, doing his very best Elvis impression. He started strumming the guitar. After months of practice, the moment of truth had arrived. His voice filled the room. "Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you." Nobody laughed. In fact, they started dancing again, so Gar kept singing like his life depended on it. "Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be." Victor laughed a little when he saw that his friend had started crying, but Gar kept singing. "Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you." As the final notes faded, the room erupted into applause. Gar was genuinely surprised to see that Superman, Wonder Woman, and even Batman were offering their kudos. Just like that, his face lit up with a huge smile. Thank you very much," he said, still doing the Elvis voice. "If the bride and groom ever need a backup singer, they know who to call." After a few more dances, it was finally time for the bouquet toss. Every bachelorette present flocked to the center of the room like bees to nectar. Above them, the large observation windows provided a breathtaking view of the earth. But right now, all eyes were on Kory as she took her position, bouquet in hand. "Remember, powers are not allowed," said Dick, his voice a blend of seriousness and light-hearted humor. "No magic, no flying, no super speed, no telekinesis, no weapons, no tools, no nothing. Just good old-fashioned reflexes. Just to make sure no one was tempted, Superman, Martian Manhunter, and Dr. Fate were all acting as impartial referees, ready to step in if they thought someone was breaking the rules. Kory turned away from the eager bachelorettes, and once again, Hal provided the drum roll. "Everyone ready?" called out Kory with contagious enthusiasm, her voice ringing with joy. "Ready! All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2... Wait for it! 3! With a flourish, Kory flung the bouquet over her head. Gasps filled the air as the women lunged forward. As the bouquet completed its arc, there was a fierce scramble. With one swift motion, the bouquet was snatched in midair by Catwoman, who waved it triumphantly. For a brief moment, everyone was in disbelief. Then they applauded. "What can I say? I guess I'm just lucky," said Catwoman before she shot Batman a mischievous wink. Everyone gave Batman merry hell after that. It wasn't long before their childish teasing became too much for him, and he had to excuse himself. He stood by one of the watchtower's viewports. The stars outside seemed to twinkle to the rhythm of the music that still echoed through the halls. He couldn't help but think of the journey that had led him here. His mind wandered back to the fateful night when he first met Dick. Dick had been a grieving child, his parents taken from him just as Bruce's had been. But instead of succumbing to the darkness, he had channeled his pain into something greater. He had become Robin, the boy wonder, and had fought by Batman's side with unwavering determination. Bruce had never given Dick enough credit for it, but he was willing to move beyond his personal tragedies. He saw it as Dick and Kory exchanged their vows and danced their first dance. Despite everything that had happened to both of them, they'd made it. Life somehow went on. Even in this wicked world, there was room for joy and love. Night after night, year after year, Bruce had wondered if his actions had made any difference in Gotham City and the world. Now he knew they had. Looking out the viewport, Bruce thought he saw the faint ghostly images of his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, smiling at him from beyond the stars. It was impossible, of course. They were long gone, victims of Gotham's violence. The blazing nectar must still be playing tricks on him. He closed his eyes. For a moment, he imagined his parents were proud of the man he had become, Gotham's protector, a member of the Justice League. Maybe, just maybe, they were out there, watching over him. Batman opened his eyes, and the vision faded. Selina came into the room, still holding the bouquet she had caught. "Hey, handsome. The newlyweds were worried you'd left already. It's time to cut the cake." Selina had visited him after he killed the Joker. He had done what he had to do. But she'd known he'd be beating himself up over it. Killing the Joker had broken him, but Selina helped put him back together. If it wasn't for her, he probably wouldn't have made it through those first few weeks. "Don't make me drag you back out there." Batman still had his duty, but whatever the future held, he didn't have to face it alone. He wasn't an orphan in Crime Alley anymore. He was a man with a family to protect and to love. All right, let's not keep the newlyweds waiting. The Bible says God does not delight in death. As Catholics, our mission is not to bring swift death on all those unfit to live. We are followers of Christ, not sadistic barbarians. But I've been fighting the culture war so long, I can't remember anything else. It has showed me that there are individuals that are beyond reasoned arguments, beyond salvation, and beyond caring. Individuals that love nothing more than to desecrate and destroy everything wonderful in this life. Their actions cast long shadows that stretch across the lives of the innocent, who inevitably pay the price for the crimes of monsters. As we saw in the cleansing of the temple, sometimes being a Catholic means flipping over tables, driving people out, and boldly exclaiming, "This will not stand." As Catholics, we are called to admonish the sinner, not affirm, support, or enable them. When faced with the dilemma, do you prefer the righteous method or the righteous result? I believe the answer is this. When a child misbehaves, you need to discipline them. When a horse breaks its leg, you shoot it. We must protect the innocent from those who have chosen evil and have the audacity to call it good. Robert Chad Cantor. The end. I hope you've enjoyed Batman Hilarious Matrimony. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and if you really want to help this channel out, then click the links in the description below and buy my books.